Have you ever wondered what it would feel like if someone powerful, someone the world only speak of in whispers, made a single personal request, not a command, not a decree warped in duty, but a request that carried your name? Imagine it out of everyone on this vast planet. It's your name that crossed his lips, your face that lingered in his thoughts. The idea alone feels unreal, almost mythical, as if the universe itself paused to let the moment unfold. It's the kind of realization that steals your breath before you even realize what's happening, the kind that makes your pulse quicken without reason. You did ask yourself, why me, why no, and what does it mean? You replay every memory, every quiet moment of your life, wondering what would possibly have led to this. It all began quietly, almost too quietly, as if the morning itself was holding its breath. A faint sound at your door stirred your form, half asleep. The world outside The world outside was still warped in its pre-dawn hush, that fragile space between night and day, where everything feels uncertain. You stay up, sat up, confused, and noticed an envelope slipped neatly under your door. Ordinary at first glance, yet something about it felt deliberate. You hesitated before reaching for it, your fingers brushing against the smooth paper, still cool from the morning air. The weight of it surprised you, heavier than an ordinary letter, as if the message inside carried the burden of something larger than words. When you turned it over, your breath caught a golden steel, glimmered faintly in the dim light. You froze, recognizing the insignia immediately. It was the mark of a man whose name was spoken with reverence and fear, a man who lived in stories told by others but never in the reach of ordinary people, and yet here it was, his seal, his mark on your floor. Your pulse stumbled as curiosity wrestled with unease. You broke the seal with trembling hands, the wax snapping softly in the stillness. The paper inside was thick, almost royal, and the handwriting was unlike anything you did seen, elegant, deliberate, each letter written with intention. There were no wasted words, no preamble, just one simple, devastating line. Before anything else in this world, I have made one request. I wish to meet you. You stared at the words for what felt like eternity. You read them again and again, each repetition deepening the disbelief. What could this mean? Why you, of all people? The room around you seemed to shrink, the air tightening as though reality itself was questioning you. You tried to dismiss, to convince yourself it was some elaborate mistake or a cruel prank, but then your eyes fell once more upon the emblem at the bottom of the page. The symbol was undeniable, the mark of authority, of legacy, of a man whose decision could shift nations. This was not a mistake, this was deliberate. And suddenly the air itself felt different, charged, alive, like a storm about to break. The hours that followed passed in a haze of disbelief, or restless energy. You could not eat. You could not think clearly. Every sound startled you. Every passing minute felt like it was carrying you closer to something that would change everything. You tried to distract yourself, but your eyes kept drifting to that letter laying on the table, like a portal you were too afraid to step through. By the time night fell, anticipation had settled deep into your bones. You stood before a grand entrance that seemed to glow with its own quiet majesty. Light spilled from the towering door, cold and soft against the cool night air. Two guards stood at either side, silent and still, their presence alone enough to confirm the truth. They did not speak, they did not ask for your name, they simply stepped aside the moment they saw you, as if your arrival had already been expected, written into the very air. Inside, everything shimmered faintly, bathed in gold and stillness. The hall stretched endlessly, echoing with quiet power. Your footsteps sounded fragile in that vastness, each one pulling you deeper into a world that felt both scared and forbidden. You could feel your heartbeat in your throat, and then, as your eyes adjusted to the soft glow, you saw him. He stood at the far end of the room alone, waiting. Time fractures in that instant. Every thought, every sound, every breath outside that room ceased to exist. He was taller than you, remembered from the images that filled the world, stronger somehow, not in the way power makes a man untouchable, but in the way presence makes the air heavier around him. His eyes lifted slowly, meeting your across the distance, and when they did, everything in you went still. He did not look at you with the detachment of power. He looked at you with something far more human, something that stripped you bare. Without a word, the silence between you deepened until it became its own language, charged with a thousand unspoken meanings. Then, with a slow, deliberate precision, he began to move closer. Each step echoed softly, the rhythm of his boots blending with the sound of your pulse. He did not rush, he did not need to. Every movement was measured, confident, as if the entire world exited slowly to mark this approach. When he finally stopped before you, the air between you tightened. You could feel the weight of his gaze, the warmth of his nearness, the electricity of a moment suspended between disbelief and destiny. When he spoke, his voice was quite steady, but it carried through the room like a command disguised as confession. I could have asked for anything, he said, his tone low but certain, but I asked for you. The words hit harder than any decree ever could. They dissolved every barrier you did build around yourself, leaving only the sound of your heart humming. In response, you tried to speak, but your voice refused to form. He lifted a hand, not to a command, but to calm you. You don't have to respond, no, he murmured, his tone softening tonight. I just need you to understand this is not about duty or expectation, it's about something far simpler and far more dangerous. It's about my heart and how it led me here to you. The sincerity in his voice unrevealed you. Every word carried the weight of someone who had lived too long in control, too long behind walls of command and distance. This was not the voice of a ruler, of a man of influence. It was the voice of someone stripped down to his truth. Your breath hit as his words sank into you. It was not political, it was not formal, it was personal, deeply disarmingly personal. Then his gaze softened and his voice dropped to a near whisper. This is not the first time I have seen you, he confessed, and since that moment, something in me has never been the same. The admission sent a tremor through you. The ear seemed to pulse with something alive, something unexplainable. You stepped closer, drawn forward by a pull you could not name. He watched you, his expression unreadable, but his eyes filled with quietly intensity. You don't know how long I have waited for this, he continued, his tone laced with a mixture of restraint and longing, longer than I ever should have, and yet here you are. You swelled hard, your thoughts spinning. Somehow you found the courage to whisper the question that had hunted you since down. Why me? His eyes did not waver because when I first saw you, I recognized something in you that mirrors the parts of me no one else understands. Because when you are near, I can finally breathe. The words broke something open inside you. They were not just romantic, they were raw, trembling with truth. He took another step forward, close enough that the air between you felt charged with unspoken emotion. I did not want this to be about titles or walls, he said softly. I wanted something real. I wanted the truth, unguarded, human. That's why I asked for you. That's why I am here. Emotions welled inside you, too large to contain. I don't understand it, you whispered, but I feel it too. Even before this night, I have felt it like you were already somewhere inside me. Something in his eyes changed, then gentled, brightened, as if your words had freed something he'd kept hidden for too long. Then you know, he said quietly, you understand why I could not stay silent any longer. He reached for your hand, the gesture etchingly gentle. The moment his skin touched yours, the world seemed to shift. His hands was warm, grounding, real. He lifted your hand to his chest. Do you feel that? He asked softly. That's not just a heartbeat, that's the part of me that's been waiting for you. Tears filled your eyes as the weight of everything finally settled, the power, the secrecy, the vulnerability, all of it folded into one undeniable truth. This moment was not about status or destiny, it was about two souls recognize each other in a world that rarely allows such things to exist. He brushed a strand of hair from your face, his touch light as air. The world would not make this easy, he said, but as long as you are with me, I will protect what we have, no matter what it costs. You rested your forehead against his chest, the warmth of his heartbeat steadying the storm inside you for the first time in your life. Love did not feel impossible, it felt inevitable. It was not a choice made of reason or logic, it was something older, something written into the quiet corners of excellence. He tightened your chin up, his eyes glowing with quiet fire. So this is where it begins, he whispered. The choice is ours. No, do we step forward or let this moment fade? You did not hesitate. I choose this, you said, your voice trembling but certain. I choose you. Small smile touched his lips, one of relief or surrender of something deeper than victory. Let it begins, he murmured, and nothing will stand between us. The night dissolved slowly into downlight spilled through the tall window like a promise. The world outside stared awake, unaware that something extraordinary had just begun inside those golden walls. You stood before him, still trembling but steady in a way you had never been before. The air smelled faintly of morning and possibility. He took your hand once more, his thumb tracing gentle circles against your skin. This was not chance, he said quietly. Every moment, every path, it was all leading to this, to you.